Hello class, today you are going to be painting the background around your sea turtle. Before you do that, some of you still need to finish your oil pastel. Just a reminder, all the pencil lines need to be traced over with a darker oil pastel, like this is dark green. You can also do the other way I showed you last week, where you're keeping a space in between the shapes and then coloring that space in, so with a lighter color. But make sure if you see pencil line still coming through, you need to trace over. Also, if you see white spaces, you need to go back in and fill that in with oil pastel, or else the paint will get in the white space. Now, my turtle obviously is not done, but I'm going to show you how to do the background. You're using one color today. I mixed it with turquoise and green to give it a sea green color. So you're going to dip your brush in the paint. You don't need to stir it because it's already liquid. And you're going to put paint down. And then you are going to use sea salt on top. So we've done this before. You're going to get a little packet and just sprinkle a tiny bit. And work in little spaces at a time. A little bit goes a long way. So also be careful with this paint. It will stain your clothing, it will not get out, so just be very careful. And I'm going to paint one area. Make sure you don't wait for the paint to dry before you put the salt down, because it won't work. And also don't put salt down and then paint over top. You need to make sure you're doing the paint and then salt and just sprinkling it. Okay. I'm being careful that I'm going around the areas, not over top of the salt. If you get on the table, it's okay. We'll just make sure you don't get it on you, and make sure you wipe up the table once you're done with a wet wipe. You can get a paper towel too, but wet wipes will be great for cleaning up. So I'm being very careful when I go around my sea turtle, especially right here because I don't have any oil pastel down. And I'm spreading it. Don't leave it in a puddle. Make sure you spread those areas. If you leave a puddle, what's going to happen if you tilt your paper when you pick it up to put it on the drying rack, it's going to move around. So keep that in mind. Alright, sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm going to do this area over here. And you don't have to put salt on every single area of your piece in your water, but put it in a good bit, and make sure you save some of the salt for areas below the sea turtle. So like I said, a little bit goes a long way. I'm being very careful. I'm pressing very lightly with my brush, like a feather. And I'm holding it at an angle like this. I'm not holding it straight down. I'm holding it sideways. And then I use the very tip of my brush. I turn the brush sideways, the tip of the brush sideways, and then I use the very fine tip for painting in the small spaces. Once you're done, you're going to put it on the drying rack. Be very careful when you do that. Make sure you're holding it flat so it doesn't drip on the floor. And if there is salt on the table, you can use your finger and kind of, like what I'm doing right now, I got a little bit on the table. So I'm just kind of getting it on my finger and sprinkling it. Okay. Alright, and then you're going to keep doing that till your whole background is painted. And you can start to see the reaction with the sea salt and the paint. It's making that crystallization effect on the paper. Alright. And you have this week to paint. Next week you there will be testing, so I won't see you next time, but the week after I will see you one more time. So try to get it done today, and if you don't, you do have one more day.